Okay, we're out of executive session.
This meeting is being recorded.
You ready to wait here?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, with that, is there anything else for new business or anything else for the IDA today?
No, just a quick update on the, our prospect of the business complex at the airport. We're continuing to, we've got comments back from them, working with Justin, and we'll be meeting with them to kind of follow up on some comments they had on the LDA, the Land Development Agreement. So things are proceeding, slowly but surely.
Not within his time frame.
Not yet.
Original.
No.
But we're not holding it.
Right, we're not the ones
Okay,
holding it up,
yeah.
yeah, it's because he's been distracted with dealing with other elements of the project and other projects he has going on, so.
I
Okay.
have one question for Marshall. You had the meeting where we found out there's now a new solar project out by the airport.
Was I? Yes, I was there. It is, and I addition that needed to be added. I'll have that to you this afternoon.
Yeah, Marshall's working with Mike Borsi at the county planning department, so we come up with a format for the list so we can kind of agree on what. So then if we need to be updated, I think Marshall is going to do Google
Yeah.
Docs or something. So we're both us and the county planning department are working from the same list.
You said that's gonna be in Google Docs?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up on Google Docs, and I can share it. I mean, can I share it with the board too, and planning,
Yeah.
as well as Bob was in the meeting.
Yep.
So yeah.
Sounds good.
I noticed in the meetings, the pilots that were approved, where you've got the 15-year. Can we keep a running track total as these solar projects come online and the pilots are finalized?
Mhm.
Can we keep like a running tally of tax revenue being generated for all entities?
I have all those records as they receive their commercial operating
Yeah.
designation.
Yeah.
Then the pilot kicks in at the next taxable status date.
Yeah.
So far, only the Oya Orleans
Yeah.
projects have kicked in.
And that Oya, you remember the Oya project in Orleans that, we had a provision within the agreement that if they went to a battery backup, it would increase the payments. They have confirmed they have added battery backup to that, so that would be reflected in their future payments. Yeah.
Because as we migrate through this, cost benefit versus risk or negative impact, in which case, utilization of farmland disappearing, I think that's the determining factor, what's the benefit, what's the risk or the cost?
We have estimated on that one. We have one sheet that has basically the projects, sort of where they're at, and like if they're built green and red, if they've been denied, things like that, and and then we have another one that has estimated tax revenue and things like that on the far right side.
Still no contact from the conversion project up the line, so.
Yeah, at the end of the year, we have to report to the state the amount of pilot revenue we have received on each project, and we have to report what the full taxation would be on it. So we have all.
So all you got to do is punch a key on your computer and
Yes.
it's there.
Yes.
Good. All right.
Yeah, your annual parish report is designed to generate that metric. So once a project is inside of a pilot, Lyle's required to report each year to the state what full taxes would be, and then also report what the total pilot payments are. And that metric generally generates what the net exemption and the benefit provided is. But the interesting thing with solar and most projects that are new construction is that you're generating new tax revenue in those jurisdictions that wasn't there before. And you can generate that same metric, which is a good deliverable and a good PR metric compared to the net savings.
Well, and bear in
And
mind,
that's always up for debate, quite frankly, because until the 2021 budget adoption kicks in and regulates how assessors attach value to these things, there's really no standard. But for now, it'll depend on a case-by-case basis. And along these lines, the pilot structure that we utilize, just as a heads up, and I can circle up with Lyle on this. We use a hard tax data state, and they go right into the pilot following the next tax data state. So there's no question or head scratching on what a commercial operation date is, because who knows, the company may just tell you after the fact. So we use a hard date in the ground that's a little bit easier to administer and liable to bill once a pilot goes into effect.
Well, and let's not forget the other paradigm being the jobs. You know, as best we, you know, we're trying to develop a system to monitor those
Well,
construction
on the
jobs.
application, they always report no jobs.
No.
However, there has to be a spin-off. Somebody is mowing the lawns or feeding the goats or whoever. There has to be something there.
Well,
Get a milk.
there's, I mean, all these panels with actuators on them, it's like, you don't put that many actuators in a project, and it's like changing light bulbs, you know, in a commercial building, you know, of years past. There's gonna be failures, and there's gonna be a lot of replacements, you know?
Yeah, the owners tend to hire regional EPCs, the equip, procure, and construct. They'll generally have some operators in the area that do the O&M for them. You may have the same operator with 10 or 15 or 20 employees working for all the solar farms in a region and going around, like you say, it's like changing the light bulbs. They do, periodic panel upgrades and switching out equipment and, fixing a transformer or an inverter or something like that. But so you may have the same 10 solar farms sharing the same 6 or 7 FTEs. It all depends. So there'll be some modest reporting. The lack of jobs associated with these projects is generally being tempered from a reporting perspective with the new statutory considerations about meeting the state's renewable energy goals. So you can point at capital investment on these projects, and you can point to a very modest job indicator, but they do hit the energy goals. So there's kind of a new way to look at this. I think that was some of the intent with the statute being amended this year. And so kind of getting away from the jobs being a huge focus here, and instead saying, well, geez, we're generating renewable energy, so it's okay.
That being said, that's the state's goal, but when we look at locally, what we're forgetting, the cost, the abatement per full-time equivalent is going to be a huge number.
Exactly. Yep.
And while the state's regulations may temper that, locally, I want to look at what are we giving up in taxation per full-time equivalent locally. And that's something, while it may not be part of the state's desire to see that number, I think that's something we need to look at.
Anything else, Mr. Chairman?
No. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
I
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Have a good day.
The recording has stopped.
So,
Take it on the vote on the agenda on that one.
Well, that's okay, I can just read through.
Bill, are you available tomorrow to? No.